All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ha-Rakakwadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, GMS, who rule and teach impeccably well. They have the absolute 144% truth, unadulterated truth, and peace, love, and mercy to the hopeful elect. All right. And I want to show you this video because I was watching the head brother, the head Ak of the Kansas City camp. He was talking about a similar situation, a similar topic, not situation, but topic about Esau and how Esau can't do, he has to do mischief. He has to do evil, man, because that's what he was created to do, man. He likes polluted oceans. He likes dim skies, all right? No sun in the skies. He doesn't like beautiful days. He likes death all around him. All right? He likes frigid, cold days, all right? He likes death all around him, man. He's the walking dead, literally, man. He's walking death, all right? He's living dead, all right? If death was living, you could see it outside. And that's Esau Edom, the so-called white man, okay? And it reminded me of this video I was watching the other night before I went to sleep. I was watching it, and you can see the title. The title's the $100 billion ingredient making your food toxic, and it goes into oils. These cheap vegetable oils, okay, that are in mostly everything, man. You buy some at Walmart, say a bag of chips, okay. There's soybean oil in it, or safflower or sunflower, high oleic sunflower oil, okay? And it's in everything, man, okay? Almost everything, a lot of things, okay? I like to go to Wingstop and give me some wings, okay? Order some DoorDash some Wingstop, okay? What do? They fry the wings in cheap vegetable oils, all right? Possibly soybean, okay? Sunflower oil. And it goes into this video. I'm gonna show you most of it or some of it, to the effects of. I recommend you watch the whole thing, but it goes into the bad effects of these cheap vegetable oils, man. Okay, they're highly oxidative, man. All right, they're not. They oxidize. They're fragile. Okay, they're real oxidative when they're in your body, man. All right, they cause pimples, wrinkles, okay, heart disease, okay, all types of messed up things in your body. They make your body age, okay, because we're not supposed to be eating these cheap, extremely refined oils, which come from seeds, which come from the actual plant, okay. If you want sunflower, the oil, you eat the sunflower, or you cold press it, right? You literally manually make it yourself instead of heating it up to unrealistic temperatures, 500 degrees Celsius to 1,000 degrees Celsius, and refine this oil and strip and bury it from all of its nutrients, and you just have this oil, okay? And when your body doesn't know how to react and process that oil, it messes you up in the inside. And people wonder why there's so many heart attacks. People gain weight so much. People have these problems with their vision, their hearing, weight, all right, acne, asthma, all types of BS, blood pressure, all types of sicknesses, all right? Okay, so I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna let you watch some of this video. Okay, I might skip. All right, I might go back. Okay, I'm gonna let you watch it.
Mechanical engineer William Osmond was trying to figure out how to make use of a common waste product, sawdust. A walk in the park left him thinking, people eat plants all the time, so why not eat trees? Osmond decided to use sawdust as a cheap alternative for a food ingredient. Considering the American food most resembling an actual piece of wood is the Rice Krispie treat, Osmond decided to test just how much of the crisp rice he could replace with sawdust without consumers noticing. Incredibly, he found you could replace 15% scientists are saying vegetable oils make us fat and diseased. We need to take a look at some history, why some animals live longer than others, some tapes hidden in a basement, how vegetable oils are actually made, and what happens in your body when you eat them. Let's start in 1829. Thanks to new machinery, it became practical to make use of the leftover garbage from cotton production, cotton seeds. The oil extracted from cottonseed could be used as fuel for lamps or lubricant for machinery. In the early 1880s, Thomas Hudnut invented a mechanical way to extract oil from corn germ. Up until then, corn germ was a byproduct that corn refiners threw away.
You hear that? A byproduct, waste product. That's what a byproduct is. Okay? And look what they did. All right, they found a way to use that waste product, unedible product, and made it edible. All right? Or just, just wrapped it up in a nice little packages and say, hey, you could eat this. All right? Okay? And then when you do, you get all these health problems, man. Okay? Because it's not something for a human, all right, person to be eating, man. Okay? Even if it is lawful. Okay? All right? That's why the Lord said to follow after the ways of the ancient. Okay? Look after the ways of the ancient of old. Okay? Okay, and they didn't do this shit. All right, this stuff that Esau Edom is doing, that the so-called white man's doing. Okay, finding out ways to just wickedness, man. He's like the apostles be saying, he's a smart dummy. He's smart as hell. Look what he's doing. He's so smart for wickedness. All this shit leads to death, decay, destruction upon your body, okay? He's a smart dumbass, okay?
In 1898, corn oil started to be used as commercial cooking oil, and in 1902, the Hudnut mills were selling 36 million gallons of corn oil per year. In 1911, the soap maker Procter & Gamble came out with a new product, crystallized cottonseed oil. Crisco looked a lot like the common cooking fat, lard. Before 1900 or so, everyone used virtually 100% animal fats to cook, but Procter & Gamble figured their newer, cheaper product, Crisco, looked a lot like lard, so why not get people to eat Crisco instead? They launched a massive marketing campaign presenting their cottonseed oil product as the newer and cleaner cooking fat that made cheap, better-tasting foods. In 1911, Procter & Gamble spent about $5 million worth of today's money to advertise Crisco, and it became popular immediately. Just the next year, in 1912, sales of Crisco amounted to 2,600,000 pounds. That same year, in 1912, James B. Herrick published a paper on what is thought to be the first heart attack accurately described in a medical journal. You see, heart disease was actually a very rare condition before the 1900s or so. Crisco continued to ramp up their advertising, and in 1916, Crisco sales had reached 60 million pounds.
When the heart stops beating, death is not in fact instantaneous.
In 1924, heart disease was rising, and the American Heart Association, the AHA, was founded but remained quite small and poorly funded for quite a while. In 1945, soybean oil reached 1.3 billion pounds produced, overtaking cottonseed oil as the leading edible oil in the United States. In 1948, the American Heart Association finally got its big break when Procter & Gamble, the makers of Crisco, designated the AHA to receive the $1.7 million from Procter & Gamble's radio contest.
And as the American Heart Association's own history book reads, it says, and overnight, millions poured into our coffers.
Heart disease was still on the rise, and in 1955, President Dwight Eisenhower had a heart attack, and the public was painfully aware of just how big a deal heart disease was. Then, just 6 years later in 1961, the American Heart Association had the answer to heart disease. The AHA recommended everyone to replace saturated fats like those found in animal fat with the polyunsaturated fats like those found in vegetable oils to prevent heart attack and stroke.
It's 94% unsaturated. No oil is lower.
By the way, saturated fat consumption didn't really correlate with rates of heart disease before or after 1960.
his voice, his words were softer than oil, smoother than butter, but war was in his heart, man. All right, presenting all these newly refined oils. All right, hey, they're good for you. Hey, this and that. But when you eat them, when you ingest them, you get sicker. All right, you get these heart attacks, this and that. All right.
When the AHA made their recommendation. And remember, we ate close to 0 grams of polyunsaturated fat-rich vegetable oils before 1900. When
Close to 0 grams back in the days. Okay, but now it's people be eating it every day, man.
Okay, so we went from 0 in 1865 to 80 grams a day. Now let me just say, this is an infinite increase in vegetable oil consumption. That makes this the single greatest change to nutrition in all of history. I don't think anything else can even begin to compare. A third of our diet is coming out of factories that make these oils.
just like all these odd corn oil ads wanted us to do, we added huge amounts of polyunsaturated fat to our diet. And today, edible oil is now a $100 billion industry. So, is this massive increase in polyunsaturated fat-rich vegetable oil actually bad or just benign? You can find various anecdotes here and there of people clearing up ailments as bad as arthritis or irritable bowel syndrome and losing plenty of weight by removing vegetable oils from their diet. Molecular biologist Brad Marshall even came up with a croissant diet where he totally removed vegetable oils from his diet and lost plenty of stubborn weight while eating croissants. Even Dr. Kate Shanahan, nutritionist for the LA Lakers, removed vegetable oils from their diet plan. But these are just anecdotes, so let's move on. As mentioned, vegetable oil consumption happens to correlate with diabetes and obesity. But again, we can't get too excited. This is just a correlation. Next, it's well known that the size of an animal relates to how long it will live. The larger an animal, the longer it lives. But there are plenty of outliers. For example, humans can live over 100 years, but based on the size of humans, we should expect a 70-kilogram human to live only 26 years. Also, the 35-gram naked mole rat lives about 5 times longer than we should expect from its size. Then, researchers found another way to predict lifespan that accounts for some of these outliers, like humans and the naked mole rat. They found that if the cells of the animals are made up more of the fats that are hard to oxidize or break down, they live longer. If the fats in their cells are easy to oxidize, they don't live as long. And these vegetable oils we're eating are mainly comprised of polyunsaturated fat, which is very easy to oxidize. Unfortunately for us, a 2015 review in the American Society for Nutrition found that the key polyunsaturated fat in vegetable oils, an omega-6 fat called linoleic acid, accumulates and sits in our bodies the more we eat it. The percentage of this linoleic acid in people's fat cells has nearly doubled from a bit under 10% in 1960 to around 20% in 2005. But remember, we were already eating plenty of vegetable oil by 1955.
The next thing I'm going to show you, I searched for 3 years. You know what I wanted to know? What was the omega-6 fat in anybody's adipose who was on an ancestral diet?
As Dr. Chris Kenobi discovered, these Pacific Islanders who were eating a diet unadulterated by vegetable oils, the concentration of polyunsaturated linoleic acid in their bodies was only 3.8%, 5 times less than what people are getting today.
3.8%, people. This is where we should be. And this is what keeps you healthy.
So, animals that have cells that oxidize easily don't live too long. And we've been eating tons of these easily oxidizing oils. But what data do we have on humans, vegetable oils, and lifespan?
Says Dr. France, I've heard the possibility that there might be some very interesting data in your father's basement.
This is cardiologist Gladwell's revisionist history titled The Basement Tapes, concerning Robert France's father, Ivan France.
Ivan France chose to devote his life to studying heart disease, specifically to understanding the role of cholesterol and blood lipids in heart attacks.
Back in the 1960s, Ivan France conducted a meticulously controlled study that would shed light on what actually happens when people cut out saturated fats and eat polyunsaturated vegetable fats instead. The study, which would be called the Minnesota Coronary Survey, took years to set up and had more than 9,000 research subjects. Since people were living in institutions, they could control exactly what the people ate. It ran for 5 years, from 1968 to 1973.
The patients in France's study would go for their meals in the cafeteria and get one of two trays. They'd look completely identical, but one tray was food cooked with vegetable oil, the other had everything cooked in saturated fat.
This was a beautifully organized study. There was lots of money, nothing, no holds were barred to try to do a good job.
To this day, it stands as one of the most rigorous diet trials ever conducted. So what does the Minnesota study show? The patients on the vegetable oil diet did end up with lower cholesterol than the people who ate food cooked with animal fats. But the vegetable oil people didn't live longer, which made no sense. They were eating the kind of diet everyone believed should help you live longer.
For whatever reason, Ivan France sat on his data for 15 years, until he finally published the results in 1989.
And his study was all but forgotten for a quarter century.
That is, until researcher at the NIH, Christopher Ramsden, tracked down Ivan France's son for the old tapes containing the raw data from this study.
The people who were over 65 who had been on the diet for more than a year, the more their cholesterol was lowered, the higher the risk of an adverse outcome.
Here, by adverse outcome, he means death.
People over 65 were dying faster if they ate a so-called healthy diet. There's no good evidence that reducing saturated fat makes you live longer. The best clinical trials we have reach the opposite conclusion.
In Ramsden's paper on the Minnesota Coronary Survey, he essentially says that the reason we assumed vegetable oils are healthy up until now is because researchers weren't completely publishing the actual results of their studies. Let me remind you that vegetable oils are everywhere. In many packaged foods, chips, rice chips, crackers, salad dressings, sauces, biscuits, mixed nuts, granola bars. Most mayonnaises are basically a jar of soybean oil. I'm not in the US at the moment, but even most of these nicely packaged meals at this expensive Japanese supermarket contain these cheap vegetable oils. Most restaurants and chefs use vegetable oils because they have a neutral flavor and, well, they're cheap. People have asked me what I think about plant-based meats in the past, and one reason I'm not keen on them is because they're simulating the fattiness of real meat with a bunch of vegetable oils. Canola, soybean, grapeseed, sunflower, safflower, corn, and all kinds of polyunsaturated vegetable oils have replaced saturated fats in our food supply. Okay, so why? Why specifically would vegetable oils be bad for our health? Well, average Americans today are eating 5 to 6 tablespoons of vegetable oils per day.
Okay, I'm gonna make a part 2 because I'm not gonna have enough time on this video.